Joe Rogan just dropped a wild take that set the internet buzzing, and yeah, people are definitely talking. He straight up pointed at the quiet vibes around Ellen DeGeneres, and folks are wondering why nobody wants to touch that topic. With Diddy's drama blowing up all over social media, a lot of people are asking the same thing. How are these dots not being connected already? We're diving into why Ellen's name keeps coming up, while so many act like they see nothing at all.
About Diddy and his oil parties with these 18-year-olds. Like, do I think it's good? No. I want to beat up their dad, but other than that, I don't really give a...
When reports hit about Diddy facing serious charges, the internet went into detective mode fast. Old clips, old interviews, and throwback moments with celebrities started popping up everywhere, especially conversations about his famous parties that people are now side-eyeing hard. And that's when folks noticed a stack of clips showing Ellen and Diddy looking real friendly on her show. They're laughing, joking, and casually talking about those same parties, which now look way more questionable than they did back then.
All right, we're back with Sean Diddy Combs. Is it Diddy today? Because sometimes you're Puffy and sometimes you're Diddy. Or sometimes you're Daddy. What are you today?
I'm so confused today with it, as long as you say it in a nice way.
But here's the part that really shook things up. Joe Rogan didn't just shrug this off, he suggested there's a reason no one is pressing Ellen about her connection to Diddy. According to him, even though Diddy appeared on her show multiple times and they joked about those parties, people in power seem real comfortable keeping that conversation quiet, especially now that those events are tied to ongoing investigations. When you really think about it, that silence hits loud.
I guess Diddy just kept people at his houses because he's got multiple houses and he's just had freak out part. Look at him. Look at Saucy said down. Go, Saucy.
Yeah. No, Saucy's crazy. Have you seen Saucy twerk?
And it doesn't stop there. People also started bringing up how Ellen's show ended in 2022 after that toxic workplace controversy. Some online voices claim that wasn't the final chapter either, because now there are reports saying she moved to the UK after the last election and hinted she's not planning a return to the US anytime soon. Coincidence? Yeah, that's hard to believe. There are way too many spicy details hiding behind the scenes that nobody wants to bring up out loud. But before we jump into what Joe Rogan said, let's rewind for a second and explain why Ellen even matters in this moment. Back in 2020, Ellen's perfect TV image completely collapsed when BuzzFeed News dropped a massive report. That shiny Be Kind brand, according to former staff, it was nothing but a front. Employees described the workplace as stressful, hostile, and straight up uncomfortable. There were claims of racism, intimidation, people getting punished for taking time off for serious personal losses, and managers creating a toxic environment that drained everyone involved. Some former employees even said the kindness only existed when the cameras were rolling. One of them said it felt fake, like a performance meant for viewers, not real life. Things got so bad that 3 executive producers were fired, and Ellen had to go on her own show to apologize publicly. But here's where things get interesting. A lot of the blame landed on the producers, not Ellen herself. She claimed she didn't know what was happening behind the scenes, even though the show carried her name and brand. That explanation gave her just enough cover to walk away without taking the full hit. The show dragged on for 2 more seasons before finally ending in 2022. Ellen said it was because the show wasn't challenging anymore. But let's be real. The damage to her reputation had already been done.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show, and then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected.
Now this brings us right back to Joe Rogan and the Diddy situation. On his podcast, Rogan pointed out how strange it is that celebrities spent years openly bragging about Diddy's parties like it was some kind of status symbol. He mentioned names like Ashton Kutcher and others who casually talked about it in interviews. And guess who was right there on camera, laughing and having those same conversations with Diddy? Yep, Ellen DeGeneres.
I don't have any real personal beef with Diddy, but it's got to go down. The bits are there. I'm a gold miner. I just found some gold.
Rogan pointed out something a lot of people are thinking, but barely anyone is saying out loud. How did all these high-profile celebrities attend those parties for years and somehow claim they saw nothing, especially now that Diddy is facing extremely serious charges? We're talking about allegations that include organizing so-called freak-off parties, where illegal activity is being investigated. And yet, celebrities like Ellen, who openly joked with him about these parties on national TV, are suddenly completely quiet. That silence feels extra suspicious. One moment in particular keeps replaying in people's minds. In a 2018 interview, Diddy told Ellen, "I invite you to all my parties, but you just haven't seemed to show up." Then he went further, explaining how the parties start at 9:30 p.m. But the real parties, the different type of parties, start at midnight on the top 2 floors of hotels. Ellen reacted by saying, "Oh no, I know about them." And that's where people froze. Because the obvious question is, what exactly did she mean by that?
Is that going to be a new thing? Are you going to try to be early?
Yes, I'm trying to be early.
Are you going to be early for my party?
Yes, I am. No.
No.
You know I have to arrive fashionably late.
All right. Not too late, though.
Not too late?
Not too late, please.
What time would you like me there?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
But not
Okay.
too late, because, you know, once you get there, the party really starts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
This is why the situation hits so hard right now. Joe Rogan thinks it's strange that Ellen's name keeps getting brushed past, even though her connection is right there on camera. First off, Diddy appeared on her show at least 3 times that people can easily find. Every time they laughed, joked, and casually talked about his legendary parties like it was all harmless fun. And it doesn't stop there. In a 2002 interview with Conan O'Brien, Diddy joked about needing locks on the doors for his parties. Back then, the audience laughed it off like it was nothing more than a wild joke. But now, with the current accusations, that comment doesn't land the same way at all. It suddenly sounds a lot darker, and people are starting to wonder why no one questioned it sooner.
You know, so if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Gotta
right.
keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
But here's where Ellen's situation gets way more interesting. After Diddy was arrested in September 2024, old interview clips with Ellen started blowing up online again. People weren't laughing this time. They were asking real questions. What did Ellen know, and why has she stayed completely quiet through all of this? Internet detectives didn't stop there. They dug up a strange tweet from 2016 where Ellen jokingly called Diddy Cuddle McSnuggle stuff. That tweet resurfaced fast, and it only added fuel to the speculation. Then, when paparazzi recently tried asking Ellen directly about the Diddy allegations, she avoided the questions entirely. She looked tense, uncomfortable, and eager to shut it down. Her body language basically did the talking.
I feel like you may not do that. You're neat, though, right? I would imagine your closet is color coordinated. Everything is hung in a certain,
Yes.
right? So you're neat. It's just that you're not the person that puts it back. All right.
Joe Rogan's point is actually pretty straightforward. If you were close enough to Diddy to invite him on your show multiple times, joke about his parties, and even say you know about them, then staying silent now looks wild. Now that he's facing serious criminal charges, Rogan says that silence from Ellen and others just doesn't sit right. To him, it looks straight up suspicious. But wait, because there's another layer to this story that makes everything messier. Remember that toxic workplace scandal from earlier? Turns out, some people believe it connects more than anyone realized. According to former employees who spoke to different news outlets in 2025, Ellen allegedly created an environment where people were scared to speak up about anything at all. Does that sound familiar? Because that's exactly how people describe the culture around Diddy, where rumors floated, but no one dared to say anything because of power and fear. One former cameraman even described something they called the Ellen gaze, saying it felt like a queen silently deciding someone's fate. He claimed people were genuinely terrified of her. Another insider alleged that Ellen banned Gordon Ramsay from her show for 8 seasons just because he joked about her cooking during a segment. When you line all this up, the pattern becomes clear. Control, silence, and nobody wanting to step out of line. Ellen allegedly ran her set through fear, and people are saying Diddy controlled his circle in a similar way. In both cases, the people around them were either too scared, too loyal, or too invested to ever speak up. And once you start lining up the details, this rabbit hole gets deeper fast. Over the years, plenty of celebrities openly praised Diddy's parties. LeBron James famously said, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." Ben Stiller even popped up in a Bad Boy music video, joking about them. But here's what makes Ellen stand out. She wasn't just hyping the vibe. She openly admitted on camera that she knew about the different types of parties Diddy threw. That's not hype, that's acknowledgement. And the contradictions don't stop there. Back in 2009, right after Chris Brown was accused of hitting Rihanna, Ellen questioned Diddy on her show about why he allowed Chris Brown to stay at his house. She took a firm stance on domestic violence and said, I don't want any girl thinking it's okay to go back to a guy who hit her. At the time, she came off as morally locked in. Fast forward to 2020, and former staff from her own show were coming forward with claims of toxic behavior and emotional mistreatment behind the scenes. Suddenly, that earlier stance didn't look so clean. People online called out the hypocrisy, saying the image didn't match the reality. Then things took another sharp turn. In November 2024, right after Trump won the election, Ellen and her wife Portia sold their Montecito mansion and moved to rural England. Sources close to them claimed they weren't planning to return to the United States at all. Ellen said the move was because of the election. But here's what raised eyebrows. At the exact same time, Diddy's legal situation was heating up and more celebrity names were reportedly being mentioned in court documents. The timing made people pause. Too many moves, too many coincidences, and way too many unanswered questions. Now we're getting into the stuff that stayed way under the radar, and most people don't even know about it. In late May 2025, rumors started spreading online, claiming Ellen had an arrest warrant tied to something involving her former DJ, Stephen Twitch Boss, who sadly passed away in December 2022. The rumor went even further, saying a recording from Twitch was played during Diddy's trial, which instantly set social media on fire. Fact-checkers like Snopes quickly shut that down and confirmed the claim was false. But here's the real question people started asking. Why did that rumor even start in the first place? What connection did people think existed between Ellen, Twitch, and Diddy that made the story believable to so many? Online speculation exploded, with some claiming Twitch may have known too much about what went on behind the scenes at Ellen's show, and possibly even about Hollywood's darker side. To be clear, these are just theories, and nothing has been proven. But the fact that so many people were ready to believe it shows how deep the distrust around Ellen has become. That distrust didn't come out of nowhere. In her Netflix special, For Your Approval, released in September 2024, Ellen talked openly about being pushed out of show business. She joked about it, saying the headline was basically that the be kind girl wasn't kind, trying to laugh it off. But what many people caught was the tone underneath the jokes. Ellen spent a lot of time talking about how badly the situation hurt her ego and self-esteem. She said, "There are such extremes in this business. People either love you and idolize you or they hate you, and those people somehow are louder." To some viewers, that sounded less like accountability and more like frustration about being exposed. Then things took another unexpected turn. In May 2025, Aaron Rodgers appeared on Joe Rogan's podcast and made a wild comparison, suggesting Ellen's old talk show set resembled Epstein Island because of similar-looking architecture. Rogan shut that down fast, saying it looked like a normal building in Los Angeles and was likely just a coincidence. Still, the fact that these comparisons and rumors even exist says a lot. Once trust is gone, people start questioning everything. The fact that people are even making these comparisons shows just how far Ellen's reputation has fallen. Some folks online are seriously putting her name next to one of the most notorious criminals in modern history, and that alone says everything about how public opinion has shifted.
Look at that, the temple, and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background. What? Oh, similar. That looks like a building, though. Like
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Is that a building in LA? That might be a building in LA.
So what's the internet actually saying about all this? Let's look at some real reactions from everyday people on Twitter who are connecting the dots. One viral post said, "Ellen knew about those parties, and now she's living her best life in England while Diddy's facing life in prison. Make it make sense." That comment spread fast. Another popular reply said, "Joe Rogan is the only one brave enough to say what we're all thinking. Why is Ellen getting a pass when Ashton Kutcher is getting roasted for the same thing on TikTok?" People clearly feel like the rules aren't being applied evenly. One user posted about Ellen dodging questions from paparazzi and then leaving the country right after, calling it the most guilty behavior I've ever seen. They added, "She knew something." And honestly, that line stuck with a lot of people. Another comment really summed up the mood online. The fact that Ellen had a toxic workplace exposed, never really apologized, then moved to another country when Diddy's case heated up is not the coincidence people think it is. That post went viral for a reason. The public is clearly not buying Ellen's innocent image anymore, and Joe Rogan speaking up is giving people permission to finally say what they've been holding back. Remember earlier when we asked why nobody was really talking about Ellen in connection to Diddy? Here's the answer. Ellen still has powerful friends in Hollywood and media. Even with her show gone and her image damaged, she's still Ellen DeGeneres, loaded, connected, and able to shape the story to a point. But that grip is starting to slip. People like Joe Rogan, who have massive platforms and don't follow Hollywood's unwritten rules, are calling out the obvious. They're asking questions mainstream media avoids. Rogan's whole thing is calling out nonsense wherever he sees it. And when it comes to Ellen, he clearly sees plenty. The fact that Ellen had multiple on-camera conversations with Diddy about those parties, openly admitted she knew about them, and is now completely silent while he's facing the possibility of life in prison looks wild. Joe Rogan isn't wrong for pointing that out. And the reason this video even says Ellen might be worse than Diddy is not because there's proof she did anything illegal. It's because Diddy is at least facing consequences for what he's accused of, while Ellen walked away untouched. Ellen got to retire rich, cash out her career, and disappear into a picture-perfect countryside in England like nothing ever happened. No real accountability, no serious follow-up, no hard questions answered. In its own way, that kind of escape hits different, and some people think that's even worse. So what's next for Ellen? Honestly, probably nothing. She's in the UK, living quiet, posting peaceful photos, hanging with animals, riding horses, and staying far away from the spotlight. Unless someone comes forward with real evidence showing she knew about or was involved in anything illegal connected to Diddy, she'll likely coast through this chapter being remembered mainly as the mean talk show host, not much more. As for Diddy, his trial is still unfolding. More names keep surfacing, more details keep coming out, and the pressure isn't slowing down. Will Ellen's name officially come up in court? That part is still unknown. But one thing is clear. Joe Rogan and the internet are not letting this story fade away anytime soon. The court of public opinion has already spoken, and it's not looking great for Ellen's legacy. The woman who built her empire on kindness is now remembered for control, silence, and controversy. So now, it's your turn. What do you think about all of this? Do you believe Ellen knew more than she ever admitted about Diddy's parties? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more deep dives into celebrity drama the mainstream media won't touch, make sure to like, subscribe, share this video, and comment below so we know what to cover next.